Hello and welcome to another brand new episode of Learn English with Podcast. I'm Emma.
And I'm Adam. It is wonderful to have you back with us, everyone. Today, we are diving deep into a topic that is universally relevant to every single human being on this planet. It doesn't matter who you are, where you live, or what language you speak. You spend approximately 1/3 of your entire life doing this exact activity. Yes, today we are exploring the fascinating, mysterious, and absolutely essential world of the science of sleep.
Sleep. My absolute favourite pastime, Adam. If sleeping were an Olympic sport, I am quite confident I would win a gold medal. However, to be completely honest with you and our listeners, lately I've been facing a strange problem. Even though I spend 8 hours in bed, I've been waking up in the morning feeling absolutely exhausted, just as tired as when I first laid my head on the pillow. I honestly feel like an old smartphone with a broken battery. No matter how many hours you leave it plugged into the charger, the maximum battery level just won't go past 20%.
Well, Emma, you are definitely not alone in this digital age. In fact, modern statistical data shows that millions of people around the globe suffer from poor sleep quality, waking up sluggish, irritable, and completely drained of energy. But before we break down the complex biological machinery behind why our brains and bodies desperately need this nightly downtime, I have today's mandatory quiz question ready for you. Are you prepared to test your scientific knowledge today, Emma?
I am always ready, Adam. Bring it on. Let's see if my sleep-deprived brain can handle it.
Excellent. Now, we humans like to think we have complicated lives, but animals have evolved some of the most bizarre and brilliant sleep patterns you could ever imagine. According to marine biologists and wildlife experts, which specific creature has the incredible ability to sleep with only half of its brain at a time, while the other half remains completely awake and alert? Is it A, the great white shark, B, the bottlenose dolphin, C, the sea otter?
Oh, wow. Sleeping with only half a brain while the other half stays awake. To be perfectly frank, that sounds exactly like me during a particularly long and dry English grammar lecture. But looking at it seriously, from a survival perspective, I think dolphins live in dangerous waters and constantly need to stay aware of sharks and other predators. So, I am going to make an educated guess and choose B, the bottlenose dolphin.
A brilliant and well-reasoned guess, Emma. But as always, we will keep our listeners in suspense and find out if you are correct at the very end of our programme.
Fantastic. I will be waiting anxiously. Now, Adam, let's jump straight into the core of our topic and talk about what happens to us when we consistently fail to get enough high-quality rest. In the medical world, there is a very specific, formal term used to describe the condition of suffering from a severe lack of sleep. It is called sleep deprivation.
Yes, sleep deprivation. To break this down for our English learners, the verb to deprive means to prevent someone from having something that they need or want. So, when you are deprived of food, water, or in this case, sleep, you are lacking a fundamental element of survival. When a person is chronically sleep deprived, their brain struggles to focus, their logical thinking becomes completely foggy, their ability to learn drops significantly, and their emotional stability goes out the window, causing massive mood swings.
That explains a lot about my personality on Monday mornings, Adam. But from a biological point of view, what exactly is happening inside our skulls? For many decades, scientists and doctors actually believed that the brain simply shuts down completely at night. They thought that when we close our eyes, our brain turns off just like a desktop computer when you flick the power switch, entering a state of total emptiness and passive rest.
But that turned out to be a total scientific myth, didn't it? Thanks to modern neuroscience and advanced brain scanning technology, we now know that the brain is actually incredibly active while we are deep in our slumbers. In fact, during certain parts of the night, your brain is working harder than it does when you are awake. One of the most vital tasks it performs during this time is a psychological process called consolidation.
Consolidation. That is a fantastic, heavy vocabulary word for our advanced learners. Can you unpack that concept for us, Adam? How does consolidation work in relation to our memory and learning?
Absolutely. In simple terms, memory consolidation is the biological process where your brain takes all the temporary, loose, and messy information you absorbed during the day, such as new English idioms, phrases, or experiences, and systematically converts it into stable, long-term memory storage. Think of your brain during the day as a busy office, with papers flying everywhere and piling up on the desk. When you go to sleep, a highly efficient night librarian comes into the office, takes all those messy piles of paper, organizes them alphabetically, and files them away neatly into permanent steel cabinets.
Oh, that is a beautiful visual analogy. So, if our listeners spend 6 hours a day studying hard, memorizing vocabulary, and practicing grammar, but then they only sleep for 3 or 4 hours that night, the night librarian won't have enough time to do their job. As a result, those new English words will literally vanish from their mind.
Exactly right, Emma. Sleep is literally the neurological glue that makes learning stick to your brain. Without it, the information just slips away.
That is honestly a game changer for anyone trying to learn a new skill or language. Now, another important thing to understand is that sleep isn't just one long, continuous flat line of unconsciousness. It moves in distinct waves and stages, doesn't it? In science, we refer to these repeating stages as sleep cycles.
Yes, exactly. A standard, healthy human sleep cycle lasts approximately 90 minutes, and during a typical night, your body will transition through 4 to 5 of these cycles. Within each cycle, you move from light sleep into deep sleep, and eventually into a highly famous stage known as REM sleep. Emma, I know you are a bit of a science enthusiast. Do you happen to know what that acronym REM actually stands for?
I certainly do, Adam. REM stands for rapid eye movement. This is an incredibly unique stage of the sleep cycle where, if you look closely at a sleeping person, you can actually see their eyeballs moving rapidly back and forth behind their closed eyelids. This is the exact stage of the night where our brain activity spikes, and it is the time when we experience our most vivid, colourful, and sometimes absolutely bizarre dreams.
Spot on, Emma. Accurate as always. During REM sleep, your brain is doing emotional heavy lifting. It processes your feelings, your anxieties, and your daily experiences, helping you wake up emotionally balanced. But before you reach REM, you go through a stage called deep NREM, or non-REM sleep. This stage is all about physical repair and recovery. This is the exact window of time when your brain signals your body to release growth hormones, repair damaged muscles, heal physical tissues, and boost your immune system. In short, it is the ultimate natural mechanism to rejuvenate ourselves.
To rejuvenate. Let's highlight that word for our audience. The verb to rejuvenate means to make someone or something feel or look young, healthy, vibrant, and full of fresh energy once again. So, when people buy expensive anti-aging face creams or energy drinks, they are trying to achieve what a good night of deep sleep does absolutely for free. Sleep is literally a natural, built-in health and beauty therapy.
It truly is the best medicine. But unfortunately, modern 21st century life, with all its amazing technology, is making it harder and harder for millions of individuals to reach these deep, healing stages of sleep. A massive percentage of the global population now suffers from a chronic, frustrating inability to fall asleep or stay asleep through the night. In medicine, this sleep disorder is known as insomnia.
Insomnia is truly becoming a silent modern epidemic, Adam. Sleep psychologists and neurologists have pointed out that one of the biggest triggers for modern insomnia is the artificial blue light emitted by our high-definition televisions, tablets, and smartphones. When we lie in bed scrolling through social media right before trying to sleep, that blue light enters our eyes and literally tricks our brain into thinking that it is still bright daytime. Consequently, the brain stops producing melatonin, which is the essential natural hormone responsible for making us feel sleepy.
Wow! So, our previous podcast episode about the importance of a digital detox and creating a tech-free zone in the bedroom is directly connected to curing insomnia and allowing our bodies to rejuvenate. Everything is linked. If you want your brain to function at 100% capacity, you absolutely must learn to disconnect from the digital world before bed.
I couldn't agree more, Adam. It's all about protecting your health. Well, before my own brain gets too relaxed and slips into an involuntary sleep cycle right here in the recording studio, let's revisit today's quiz question and give our wonderful listeners the answer.
Right. Let's see how sharp your memory is. At the beginning of the program, I asked you which specific marine animal has evolved the incredible ability to sleep with only one half of its brain at a time, while the other half remains fully awake and conscious. You confidently guessed B, the bottlenose dolphin. And Emma, I'm absolutely delighted to inform you that you are 100% correct. You are on a winning streak.
Yes, fantastic. I am absolutely thrilled, Adam. But tell us, from a scientific standpoint, how on earth does an animal manage to sleep with half of its brain awake? That sounds physically impossible.
It sounds like science fiction, but it is a real biological phenomenon called unhemispheric sleep. Dolphins are marine mammals, which means they don't have gills like fish. They have lungs just like us and must consciously travel to the surface of the ocean to breathe air. Furthermore, the ocean is full of deadly predators. So, if a dolphin fell completely unconscious like a human, it would either drown or get eaten. To solve this, one half of their brain shuts down to rest, while the active half controls their swimming, reminds them to breathe surface air, and keeps one eye wide open to watch for danger. After a few hours, they simply switch sides.
That is absolutely mind-blowing, Adam. Nature never ceases to amaze me. Sadly, we humans definitely did not inherit that ability, so we cannot safely study English with one half of our brain while the other half sleeps. We need both hemispheres of our brain to rest completely. Now let's take a look at the useful, advanced vocabulary words we have gathered from today's scientific discussion.
First on our list today, we had the term sleep deprivation. This is a medical condition resulting from a chronic lack of sufficient sleep, which severely compromises your cognitive functions, immune system, and emotional health.
Second, we discussed the noun consolidation. In cognitive psychology, memory consolidation refers to the essential process where the brain stabilizes temporary short-term memories and transforms them into permanent long-term knowledge.
Third, we mentioned sleep cycles. These are the recurring 90-minute biological patterns consisting of light sleep, deep slow-wave sleep, and dreaming sleep that our bodies experience multiple times throughout the night.
Fourth, we highlighted REM sleep, which stands for rapid eye movement sleep. This is the highly active, high brain frequency stage of the sleep cycle, where our eyes move rapidly and our most vivid dreams take place.
Fifth, we use the beautiful verb to rejuvenate. This means to restore someone to a youthful, vigorous, healthy, and high-energy state.
And finally, number 6 was insomnia. This is the formal medical classification for a sleep disorder characterized by a persistent and chronic difficulty in falling asleep or maintaining continuous sleep.
And that brings us perfectly to the conclusion of this extended, extra deep episode of Learn English with Podcast. We hope this episode helps you understand your brain a little better.
So, dear listeners, do your brain a massive favour tonight. Turn off your smartphones, close your laptops, dim the lights, and give your mind the deep, uninterrupted rest it deserves. Your long-term memory will thank you tomorrow.
Goodbye, everyone. See you next time.